How many of you had a good camp? You had a good camp? Say amen. I'm so grateful to my parents for some of the things that they did. There are many other things that they did to me that I am thankful for. They're just not good memories. How many of you ever gotten in trouble? How many of you there's trouble and then there's you really got in trouble. How many of you have really gotten in trouble? Shame on you. And hey, tonight I want to help you. I want to help you, those of you who have gotten in trouble. I want to help you never get in trouble again. Got it? Just don't do anything wrong. Okay, you're good, got it? Okay. And Proverbs chapter 4. Turn over to Proverbs chapter 4. And the book of Proverbs for a young person is probably the most important book for you to read. If you go through the book of Proverbs, you'll find very quickly that the first few chapters are written to a young man or to children, 7th, 8th, 9th grade, just entering adulthood, young adults. And as you progress through the book, it deals with situations and problems that face you as you get older. And you start Proverbs chapter 1, it just says, hey, you need wisdom, you need good stuff here. And then you get to Proverbs 7, it deals with relationships and staying away from the wrong crowd and the wrong people. And then you get down to Proverbs chapter 31, and it's right about marriage. How many want to get married someday? The junior high is all sitting on their hands. And you will someday. You will. Listen, Proverbs chapter 4. What's your term there? Proverbs chapter 4. If you'll listen, I promise you this, if you'll listen, it won't be long. Me and Brother Rodman worked with Ethan earlier. It doesn't matter. He said, are you ready? I said, I was looking through my Bible, I'm trying to find something to preach on. And he said, is any of it's good, and it's true. We've done team preaching before where they come up and you take the Bible and just, all right, there you go, preach on that verse. All right, then went Abimelech to Thebez and encamped against Thebez and took it. All right, okay. Anyway, it's fun to do that. And got to preach on something. Those parents that name their kids Abimelech, well, shame on them. Don't do that to your children. And come up with something to preach on. And how many of you know somebody with a weird name? How many? It's you? Yeah, is that about it? And Proverbs chapter 4, verse 23. Listen up. Follow along and fill in the blanks. Keep thy heart. Keep thy what? Keep thy what? Keep thy heart with all diligence. For out of it are the issues. How many of you have issues? Yeah, I thought you had issues. There are young people in this world. I can take myself here. There are young people in this world. As a young person in this world, there are lots of issues. And everybody has different issues. Some of your issues are personal. Some of you have issues outside of your personal life, but they're there. Family. Your home situation. Your financial situation. Some of you, your issues are going to Christian school. Some of you have issues in life that are leading you the wrong way. The Bible says here that out of your heart proceed all the issues of life. And everything that you face is going to be affected by one thing, by your heart. What you desire. What you desire. And if there's one thing that I could get you to desire tonight, I wish you desired God. I wish you would. Because there are things in life that we all want, that we all desire. There are things that we face, and the only thing that is going to allow us to go past those trials and those struggles are going to be your desire for God. See, Proverbs says, again, through desire, a man having separated himself seeketh an inner with all wisdom. That desire is talking about your heart. And your desires are going to determine whether or not you make it or you don't make it. It's going to determine whether you're happy or you're not happy. It's going to determine whether you have blessings or not blessings. It will determine everything, because out of your heart proceeds everything that has to do with your life. What kind of life do you want? That's the question. Do you want a good one? Do you want a happy one? Do you want a poor one? Do you want a miserable one? It all depends on what you gear your desires towards. Turn over to the book of James. Turn over to the book of James. Read one more verse. We'll pray, and then we'll go on. Book of James, chapter 1. I hope that's the right reference. That's what I get for not writing it down. Hebrews in the Old Testament. Oh, there's James. Okay, good. If I get young people to decide something tonight, it'd be you want a good life. When I say good life, I don't mean you're going to be pastor so-and-so, or this Sunday school teacher so-and-so, or you're going to be deacon so-and-so. All that's great. I'm talking about you have a good life. I'm talking about you go home at night and you're happy. I'm talking about you get up in the morning and you're happy. I'm talking about that you and your spouse, you see each other and you're not upset with each other all the time. I'm talking about your kids like you, and you like your kids. I'm talking about you just enjoy the life that God has for you to live. Because honestly, the richest person in the world is the person who is happy in their life. Take all the money away from everybody, because it doesn't make any difference at all. No, we still want it. We still need it. But you know what I mean. There are plenty of rich people, miserable lives, never happy. There are plenty of people who have absolutely nothing, and they live in perfect happiness. Why? Because money makes no difference. It's a happy life that we want. James chapter 1, verse 17. Fill in blanks. Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above, and cometh down from the Father of lights, with whom is no variables, neither shadow of turning. So every good gift and every perfect gift is from where? Above. Meaning, who's it from? God. Everything good that is going to come to your life has one source, and one source only. And that is your Heavenly Father. Oh, I hope you live a blessed life. Because if you decide to not live a blessed life, happiness is gone. It will never be attained. It will never be reached. Father, I pray help us tonight. Pray that some young people make some decisions for you, and that they love you with their lives, and live for you, and that they learn to see life from your perspective, and really for a selfish reason, because they want a happy life. They want your blessings on them, Lord. Thank you so much for allowing us to do this. In that I pray, amen. Keep thy heart with all diligence. Keep thy heart. That word keep there is the same word describing in the Middle English type era. It's a type of fortified tower built within castles during the Middle Ages by European nobility. A castle keep is usually the central tower located within a castle. Basically, it is a castle within a castle, as it has traditionally been used as a final defensive structure. Early castle keeps, 11th century, were usually just square towers and a little more than a hall with strong walls. In France, early keeps were called donjons. In Germany, they were called Burgfried. In the 12th century saw the development and use of battering rams, and the resulting damage that could inflict upon a castle led to central keeps being built and no longer always square, but cylindrical. A cylindrical structure was harder for the battering rams to damage. Such keeps were also not just used for defense, but for actual living accommodation, storing armory, and often to guard the main well. It was also used to guard the castle treasury, and would also be used to guard the family, the royal family. That keep was something that was used as a final defense, as a secure location. Today we would call it a safe. You have valuables. You don't want anybody to break in and take them. Put them in a safe. Go to the bank. You don't just put them in the bank, though. You put them in a safety deposit box. There is a place that is secure, that is strong, that is just about impenetrable. That is a place where you store the most precious possession in your life. And God says that your heart is that possession. Your heart is the thing that is most precious to you. And we know that. We understand that. There's things that we let our heart do all the time. I mean, what else do you like things? I mean, I like Cold Stone. I do. I like Cold Stone. If I have more money, I'd go there more often. Because every time I go, I have no more money. I mean, Cold Stone. How many of you like Cold Stone? No Cold Stone? Shame on you. All right. You need to get right with God, get saved, and enjoy Cold Stone. All right? But there are things that we like. There are things that we like. I've got things at home that I like. They're valuable. I'm not just going to leave them out. I mean, what if somebody broke in? My mom, when her and my dad were just newly married, and they just started the church, and she had taken her rings off, put on lotion, forgot to put her wedding rings back on. And they're a beautiful set in a bus family, a bus grandma in Chicago on my dad's bus route had given him the rings to use. He said, these are my rings. A man proposed to me 50 years ago, and I turned them down, but I kept the rings. Now, I don't know if that's good or bad, but regardless, my dad got the rings. They're beautiful rings, very expensive, very valuable. She had put lotion on her hands. My mom left them on the sink in the bathroom. Somebody broke into our house. Rings were no longer there. They got stolen. Now, a lot of us, our hearts like that. We just kind of lay it out. We let it get affected and taken by everything that's grasping at you. And in the world that we live in, as filthy and as vile and as vulgar as it is, it's constantly reaching out strands to tie onto your heart and to grab your heart. It's reaching out fingers to grasp and to hold on, not let go, because it wants your heart. It wants your desires. It wants your eyes and your mind. It wants your liking. It wants every bit of your attention to be focused on the world. So it tries to grab your heart. And so often, young people, we as young people, I can still say that. I'm only 34, so I'm still a young person, okay? We as young people, somebody just raised their eyebrows, okay? Come on, I'm not that old, all right? Yeah, sure. No, you're old, okay? And so often we leave our heart out, unprotected, unguarded, for anybody and anything to affect and to influence. Now, we go back to James, the book of James, because down here, I need help. Can you help me? What's your name? Hi, John. My name is Josh. We're acquaintances now. All right, not friends, acquaintances. Come on. Just kidding. All right, this is John. John? You go by Johnny? John? Jonathan? Johnny. All right, this is John. No, Johnny, listen, we're looking at Johnny here. Johnny represents the good life. He represents happiness. Happy. Okay. Can you get a little? Show some teeth. Some pearly yellows. All right, Johnny's good. Sorry. They're not really yellow. They're really greens. All right, so good. And, just kidding. I'm making fun of him. I don't even. Oh, I do know, guys. No, Johnny. Hey, Johnny. All right, Johnny's going to represent the life that is good. Everything you want. And you girls, you're wondering. Somebody's starting to think, what kind of husband am I going to get someday? Hey, you get these dreams. I want somebody to love me and to take care of me and to pamper me and to spend lots of money on me. And that's what you're thinking all those things, all right? So, some of you are. Some of you guys are thinking, oh, that girl, I want her to pamper me and spend lots of money on me. And some of you guys are thinking, oh, shame on you. All right, so Johnny represents everything good, everything happy. He represents happiness in your marriage, happiness in your home, happiness with your family, happiness with your relationships, happiness in your job place, happiness everywhere. Just a good life. A very good. It doesn't mean no heartache's going to come. It doesn't mean no sadness is going to come. It doesn't mean no sickness is going to come. But it means that in the sickness you're happy. It means that in the heartache you're happy. It means that in the trouble you can be happy. It means that happiness is accessible and there all the time. Who wouldn't want that life? Is there anything else in life that you can ask for? There's nothing. There is nothing more that you can have than happiness. All right, I need somebody to represent the world. Yes, very worldly. Come on up. What's your name? Mark or Josh? Good to meet you, Mark. Is this thing Mark? Oh, all right, come on, Mark, over by the keyboard. That's what you said. You said it too? You did? Great minds think alike right there, okay? All right, so Mark's over here. Mark represents... We won't get into that. Mark represents everything ugly. Not you. Okay. Mark represents everything, every bit of heartache, every divorce. Listen up, no talking. Mark represents every broken home. Mark represents every abused child. Mark represents every bit of wrong and trouble that you can imagine in your life. These are the two ends of the spectrum. Now, let me give you a hint here, and I think you know the answer. But this good gift and this perfect gift, who is the only one who can give it to you? God. Because we read that in James, every good gift and every perfect gift, every good gift and every perfect gift is from who? God, from above. Do you know who gives you this one? No. Yourself. And this is where the world gets us. Because when we trust ourselves, and we do not follow Him, we end up going this direction. To what extent, I don't know. Because God is great in His mercy. But I've seen so many young people. It's my 13th year working with teenagers in our church. I've seen so many of those 13 graduating classes choose this path. So it's heartbreaking. And you see them start in high school. You see them make decisions that are selfish, that are worldly, that are fleshly, and they start heading this direction here, and they're looking down at their feet, baby steps going along. They don't even see what's coming. They're trying to just enjoy life, pleasing their flesh, pleasing their self, pleasing what they want, fulfilling their desires, and following their hearts. Before they know it, pow! This hits them. Oh, really? Mark doesn't swing at them and hit them. This hits them. See, other young people, they're there, start heading this way, they just live a life. I want God to bless me. They go teen soul winning. They read their Bible. They pray. They go to church as much as their parents will let them. If there's an extra activity or an extra preaching service or an extra event at church, they want to be there. They hang around the leaders. They try and learn. They listen to the preaching. They take notes. They're doing lots and lots and lots of things because they want God's favor on their life. Because when you get God's favor on your life, God is able to bless you. And when God blesses you, He starts giving you the things that you need to end here in ultimate happiness. And so we go back here to Proverbs chapter 4 and verse 23. It says, keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. Your heart is going to be the decision maker in this life. Your heart is either going to direct you this way or it is going to direct you this way. The problem is your heart will never on its own direct you that way. It will never, ever on its own direct you that way. There are some things that you have to do. Jeremiah 17 verse 9 says, the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? And it's telling you that as sincere as a young person can be, that sincerity will lead you straight into a miserable lifestyle of death and destruction if you let it. And you may enjoy some steps along the way, but eventually you will run into that wall and you will fall into that pit and you will be there where we as leaders have seen so many young people end up down the road in a mess and they come crawling back to God. A horrible, horrible picture. There's a girl in my class. I can give you her name. I'd rather not. She was a beautiful young lady. I don't think she graduated. She did. Her family moved. Family got out of church, and she went with them. And today, at 34 years old, I just saw her last year, so I would have been 33. She would have been 33, 34. She looks like she's 60. Because she's been walking this path. There's nothing wrong with looking 60. But you don't want to look 60 when you're 35. But when you get into drugs and alcohol and immorality and indecency and ungodliness and shame, it ages you. It takes a toll on you. It just starts destroying your life. And not just spiritually, it starts destroying your life physically. And you've seen it. You've seen it. You're in Long Beach. You see this. There's some people, there's a homeless man I talk to, and I try to talk to him as much as I can. So many of them say we've got several homeless communities around our city. Our town. And I talked to one guy, absolutely vehement against the gospel. Doesn't want to hear it. I'm like, man, we're trying to help you, we get food for you, we're trying to give you things. And he's in his 40s, he looks like he's 80. Because sin always takes a toll. The pleasures of sin for a season always has a price to pay. Always has a price to pay. But the young person who pays the price of obedience and godliness and character and decency and morality and purity, you know what price they have to pay? None. You pay the price here, you get the payment later. Genius, I wish you could see this. And some of you, it's going to take a while for you to see it, and you're not going to just believe. Some of you, you're going to say, oh man, that's what I want. I'm going to start doing it right now. You make that decision. That's awesome. Some of you, you're skeptics. You're skeptics thinking, I don't know if that's true. There's some things I really like to do, and they're telling me I can't do it or shouldn't do it. I'm sad, or it doesn't seem fun. And you're going to end up down here because of lack of faith. Faith is just listen. Take your Bible. Give it a chance. Let God bless you. Let you get down here to this life here. And in order to do that, you've got to keep your heart. So I need a heart. Where's the heart? You gonna be a heart? All right, come on up. What's your name? Jaden? Hi, I'm Josh. You're a heart. What a lousy illustration. All right, Jaden, right? All right, Jaden's a heart. All right, so Jaden's a heart right here. No, this heart here on its own. Which direction are you gonna go? Yeah, it's so fun, huh? Not him. This, right here, the path. It looks fun, right? It doesn't look fun? To you it does. You're not too brilliant. You're pretty dumb, so it looks fun to you, right? Yeah, he's laughing. He's having fun. Yeah, no, it looks fun. Now, the heart on its own, your heart on its own, will always choose which way? That way. Now, in order to keep your heart from dragging you this way, there are some things you have to do. You've got to keep it. No, you remember we talked about the key? That big safe in the middle of town that you could run to. Battering rams couldn't get through. Arrows couldn't go through. People couldn't get in. You had lots of food in there. You were safe. You were protected. You could put your valuables in there. Nobody would ever get them because nobody could break in. Fort Knox. That's the key. And God says that's what you got to do to your heart. That's what you got to do to your heart. Now, I'm off of my notes here. We've got to get going here. There are some things you got to do because the heart is desperately wicked, deceitful above all things. And there are some things that God says are going to help you keep your heart. You got to do those things. They're daily things. They're daily things here. We've got to go through. Ephesians 2:19-22 says, now therefore ye are no more strangers and foreigners, but fellow citizens with the saints of the household of God, and are built upon the foundation of the apostles and prophets, Jesus Christ himself being the chief cornerstone, in whom all the building fitly frames together groweth unto an holy temple in the Lord, in whom ye also are builded together for an habitation of God through the Spirit. All that to say, there is one thing and one thing only that will help you to keep your heart. Does anybody know what it is? Well, let's go through here. It doesn't say it in here, but it explains it. And it says foundation of the apostles and prophets. You know what the apostles and prophets are? The prophets of the Old Testament, the apostles of the New Testament, and upon Jesus Christ. The Bible says the very first thing you need to start out with. You need to start out with getting this book and making that book a part of your life. As simple and as redundant as it sounds, you hear it all the time. Read your Bible, pray every day. Read your Bible, pray every day. You do row. And then if you don't, you shake. That's a 4-year-old. That is the entire foundation upon which happiness is built. No, it's like the most true song in Christianity. I wish every Christian would take that little child song. Read your Bible, pray every day, pray every day, pray every day. Read your Bible, pray every day, and for your kids, come. and the 3-year-old like, no. But neglect your Bible, forget to pray. Forget to pray. Forget to pray. Neglect your Bible, forget to pray. What's going to happen, boys and girls? Shriek. Look, little kids' class. How many of you sung that in Sunday school? Oh, come on, be honest. You did. How many of you sung that? No, you're good. Oh, my goodness. You go through there, and you got some things here. No. The Word of God has to be your foundation. No, young people, if this is the only decision you make all of camp, that you're going to take your Bible and you're going to start putting it into your life, it'll be the best decision you ever made. Some of you think, I don't know about all this Christianity stuff. Why don't you take your Bible and give it a chance? No, I don't like to read. So, it's boring. Deal with it. Read your Bible. How much? It doesn't matter. Open it up. Okay, the king sent and called you Shimei, said unto him, build me a house in Jerusalem, dwell there and go. Oh, I read my Bible. God, I read my Bible. Please bless me today. Amen. Okay, you started. You know, some of you, that's more Bible than you read in a day. Oh, you know that. You understand that, right? We're honest with ourselves. There's a whole bunch of people in here. You read your Bible every day. So a whole bunch of people don't. Why? Because you're teenagers. Not we. You're teenagers. You go to church on Sunday. There's a whole bunch of adults in church. Don't read the Bible every day. Wow. The very foundation on which Christianity is built is being neglected by the very people that God gave himself to die for. And God wants to give you this life. And he says you got to start out with your Bible. Got to start out with your Bible. I'm not going to go through two things here. There's something I want you to start doing. I want you to start doing. Number one, you need to start enjoying the Christian life. Amen. Why in the world do we not enjoy life? All the rules. Oh, get over it. There are rules everywhere. All right, some of you might, but most of you don't look at the speed limit sign. Oh, stupid speed limit sign. Dumb rules. You don't do that. Why is there a rule against murdering people? Stupid rules. We're at the zoo. Tigers are all around us. The guy says, don't jump out of the car. Stupid rules. Hey, look at that rope. It's stretching across the Grand Canyon, but that sign says I can't climb on it. That's a stupid rule. You know we treat rules that way? We do. My mom and dad said I can't do this. That's a stupid rule. Well, you know what your parents are doing? Your parents are oh, sorry. Get you there? You're good? All right. I'm going to use this. Your parents are taking your heart because you're too immature to do it. Your parents are keeping it. Their heart. Try and get over there now, huh? They're keeping a hold on your heart. Hope you understand this. And all of a sudden, the teenager's heart says, oh, let's go there. No, But Mom, everybody else has a phone. Nope. Mom. You don't. Yeah. You mean I have to give it to you at night? That's so stupid. No, it's not. You're so stupid. But the rule's not. But Mom, everybody else is going to... I'm girls, I'm sorry. No, that was the guy, boys. Okay, no, hey, everybody's going over to so-and-so's house. We're just going to hang out. Well, you're not going. Man. But why not, Dad? Because when a bunch of stupid teenage guys get together, they get in trouble. Right. Their parents let their kids go. Nope. And they put rules on you. It's called keeping your heart. Yes. Because as a teenager, it's so hard to control something that is uncontrollable. So it comes along, and you start liking somebody. Girls, you start liking a guy, your dad says, nope. He says, nope, you're not doing that one.
you're not going to. If you like somebody, that means don't sit by them, don't talk to them, don't look at them, don't hang around them. You see them walk the other way. Until you get out of high school. Why? Because your heart will lead you down the path to a horrible pit, the Bible calls it, to a wicked end. And your parents are keeping your heart. Now here's the problem. Some of you, your parents aren't keeping your heart. Some of you, your parents aren't keeping your heart. They're not. They don't tell you to go to bed. They don't tell you to put your games away. They don't tell you to put your phone away. They don't tell you not to go online. They don't tell you not to go here. They don't keep you from going to places with your friends. They don't do all that stuff. They're not keeping your heart. So if you want this life of happiness, guess whose job it is now to keep your heart? It's yours.
Yeah.
And it's about time we get some young people who say, I am going to stand up, I'm going to play the man, I'm going to be the Christian, and I'm going to be the one that God can bless.
Amen.
I'm going to start putting restrictions on myself.
Come on. Amen.
I'm going to start putting rules on myself to keep my heart from leading me down that path. Because I want that path. I want the path that God has me on. I want the happy life at the end. I want the joyful family. I want the happy marriage relationship. I want the blessed home. I want the blessed workplace. I want to be happy in my life.
Amen.
So you start taking your own rules on yourself. You say, no heart, you're not doing that.
Amen. Come on. Come on.
Mom comes up to you and says, hey, Jaden. Hey, Jay, I heard some of your friends were going over to so-and-so's house and they're going to have a party. You want to go? Yeah, you do. No, you don't. This is a horrible illustration. Jaden says, oh yeah, that'd be fun. But you know what? The head of Jaden that knows what's right says, hey, are there going to be adults there? Oh, no, it's fine. I trust all those kids. Oh, no, Mom, I better not go. Well, why not? Well, I'd rather not. I'd rather stay home. You kept your heart. Let me explain to you what this is called. I don't ever remember. What are you doing, Jade? All right. Let me explain this to you, because this is a battle that is being fought right now, and you as young people are going to be the ones that are going to make or break it. This right here, when a Christian decides to limit himself because of what the Word of God says, it's called a standard.
Amen. Yeah.
It's called a standard. That means there is a level of living that I am going to live by, and I am going to stand by it, come what may, because that is going to do what God will allow me to bless me by. It's going to keep me from destruction, and it's going to allow me to be blessed. It's called keeping my heart. It's you girls saying, there's a way I'm going to dress. I'm going to dress like a lady should dress. I'm going to dress like God would want me to dress. Not like the world wants me to dress. Not like my friends want me to dress. Not like everybody else wants me to dress. Not even how my own heart wants me to dress, but how God wants me to dress. You say, where do I find that out? Get in your book.
Amen.
Get in this Bible. I'll tell you very clearly. You say, I don't know where to go. Then go talk to your pastor.
Yes.
Go talk to your youth pastor. Go talk to any of the staff. Go talk to the staff ladies. Go find somebody who's godly and that knows this book and say, hey, don't tell me. Can you show me from the Bible how I am supposed to dress?
Amen.
Because I've got a decision to make. My parents don't care how I dress. My family doesn't care how I dress. But I care what God thinks about my dress. You guys, there are some things you should not do. There are some things that we do that our heart says, yeah, that we should be saying, no, 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 no. And you know what they are. There are things to avoid and stay away from. The problem comes when in your home, there are no standards, there are no rules. Now, when you're at church, it's okay. And you show up fine at church, and you show up fine at school, and you signed the rule book, and you said, I'll live this way, and your parents signed it, said they'll live this way, but there's some inconsistencies, and the problem falls on you, what decision you are going to make, and whether or not you're going to please God or please your heart.
Amen. Amen. That's good.
It's a tough choice. It's a man up time. The ladies, I'm sorry, I don't know how, it's a woman up time? I just don't know. You know what I mean, right? It's the time to stand up and say, it's time to stand up and say, I am going to take charge of my standards, and I'm going to keep my heart, and I'm going to say no to this guy, and I'm going to lead him this way instead of letting him lead me that way.
Amen.
Goes on. You start enjoying the Christian life. Delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thy heart. See, you start taking the things of God and start enjoying them. That means you start leading your heart this way, all of a sudden God starts giving you the things that your heart enjoys. Yeah. Me and my wife got married. We don't have any money. Brand new married, just started working. There's no money. We move into an empty house. Somebody bought us. What did they buy? Oh, they left their TV in the house. Oh, great way to start out marriage. Got a TV. People started giving us stuff. And within 2 weeks, our house was full. Every single thing in there was supposed to be brand new, and it was nice. And we realized we haven't bought one thing in this house. And that's what God does. You start leading your heart the right way, you control this guy, and you start going this direction. Now all of a sudden, God starts pouring out happiness on you. And you can't even imagine the joy that fills your heart when you start taking this guy and you pushing him the right way instead of letting him drag you the wrong way. You cannot let this guy take control. You can't do it. Start enjoying the Christian life. God promised us to give us the desires of our hearts. He doesn't want us to just sit around all day moping and living in misery because of the rules. He says, go out, follow the rules, and enjoy the things that God gives you to enjoy. He wants to enjoy the peace that passes understanding. Enjoy the fellowship with the saints. Enjoy the purity of keeping yourself clean. Enjoy the lack of guilt, the lack of compromise, the lack of conviction that convicts your heart daily. The problem comes when we try to fill our lives with things that God does not delight in, and you cannot ever have lasting joy in life when you're focused on pleasing this guy instead of pleasing God. You can't do it.
There's a whole lot of things we can go into here. First thing, start enjoying Christian life. Stop having a pity party about all the rules and all the things that you're not allowed to do, and go start living life.
Amen. Amen.
Just start living life. You'll find out life's pretty good. And the longer you live life, the more happy you'll be. Second thing, realize that the issues are not about you. You understand this? The issues of your heart's not about you. So 1 Timothy 6:17 says, charge them that are rich in this world that they be not high-minded, nor trust in uncertain riches, but in the living God, who giveth us richly all things to enjoy. Once again, you see a God who gives us richly all things to enjoy. But not if we're letting our heart lead us this way. Doesn't happen. He says there, charge them that are rich in this world that they be not high-minded nor trust in uncertain riches. Don't live for the world. Don't live for money. Don't live for wealth. Don't live for self-satisfaction. Live for Him.
Amen.
Because it's about Him. Because if you don't live for Him and make Him the focus of your life, He can't ever give you that. And that's His goal. We've got to fly here. The issues are about God, about our King, our Savior, about one who calls us His friend, our friend. He wants to give us so many things, and we messed it up because we just follow our heart to destruction. You get in the Word of God. Joshua 1:8 says, this book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success. That's that life again. You see, over and 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 over in the Word of God, He says, pay attention, get in the Word of God, do what I say, and I will give you that life. I will give you that good gift. I will give you that perfect gift. I will give you good success. Over and over and over again. That's why you've got to start building a big, huge, gigantic, ugly wall around your heart. You know the way some of you, your parents make you feel? My parents don't let me do anything. Your heart should feel that way about you. That guy or that girl that I belong to won't let me do anything out of your heart. You know, Disney says follow your heart, follow your dreams. The world says follow your heart, follow your dreams. It'll make you happy. It's all a lie.
Man, yep.
And you take this, and you don't let your heart do anything. And let me show you what happens.
You start going this way, and that girl that you liked in high school, that your parents wouldn't let you look at, all of a sudden now you're 21, 22 years old. There's no more restriction there. Hey, I got the girl. I'm telling you.
Amen.
I liked her my senior year. Didn't start dating until our second year of college. Sat together, talked a little bit, got to know each other a little bit. Thought, I really like this girl. Got her. But you know what? I would have never got her from high school. I would have pursued that, pursued that goal of my heart, wanting to go after her. Nope, wouldn't have happened. Why? Because not honoring my father and my mother. Not doing it. But as you get older, those dumb little rules that you start to have will start to come off. And God starts to give you liberty. Now all of a sudden, your heart that felt so restricted now can live life within a well-protected environment, enjoying everything that before was denied. Oh, I wish you could understand this. And some of you will never understand fully this until you're grown. But trust me here, you take this place right here as a young person, and you start wrapping up that heart. Don't let that thing do anything without anybody's permission. You don't go anywhere without getting counsel. You don't go anywhere without getting permission, and it'll save you from this life here. You start wrapping up that heart. You start forcing it. No, we're going to do what God says. Oh, but I'm tired. I don't want to get up on Saturday. You go, so honey? You say, no, heart. We're getting up. Oh, I'm tired. I'm tired. No, you're getting up. Okay. You force them to go out. Sunday morning gets up. How many ride on the bus? No. Bus is here already. I'm still in bed. Don't answer the door.
That's me.
That's your heart speaking. You tell your heart, you knock it off. You don't say that. You're getting out of bed. I'll be ready in 5 minutes. Some of your parents, hey, you feel okay? You gonna go to church today? No, I'm gonna stay home. Nope, not doing that. No way. We're going this way. And you start leading your heart, getting your heart that way. Now all of a sudden, you get the life that I have.
Amen.
You get the life that Brother Watt has. Brother Ross has. You get that life. You have a good marriage, a good home, good kids. You're happy every day. But this doesn't come from anything except from God. And God will not give it to you unless you pay the price here and say, heart, you're not going to let me go that way. I'm going to take control. I'm not going to let my heart do that. I'm going to go get some wise counsel and say, what should I do and what should I not do? You take it and you implement those things on. You know, some of you need to do this. You need to shut the TV off for a month. Yeah, a month. Shut it off. And your phone. You guys have a seat.
I'm just telling you. Some of you, we have gotten so cultured into needing this thing. It's got a crack across the front and it's dead. Good, nobody can bother me. But you walk around, zombie apocalypse.
We just went to Disneyland. Brother Bob, you went to Disneyland a while ago? 2 years ago? I don't know. Somebody went to Disneyland. We were at Disneyland.
Just stand there and look at the line. I mean, they're talking to the person next to them, texting each other. Well, Yeah, that's the life I want to live. Screen. Shut off your screens.
Yeah.
Just try it. Because the reason you're on it is because your heart. And I don't know everything that all of you struggle with, but I do know there are things that you go to God, you get on your knees, and you say, God, there are some things that I know that I probably should not do. Could you please tell me right now what things you want me to cut out of my life? And then get real quiet. Guess what? Immediately, there are going to be things going through that mind right there. Like, no, that's not from God. No, that's not from God. No, that's not from God. Over and over and over and over again, it comes to the point where if you want this life, because let me tell you, there's nothing like it.
Amen.
You young people, you see the worldly famous people. You see the people that you admire. You see the magazine covers, the people in commercials. You see the people in movies or TV shows or out and about. You hear about rich and famous. You see the athletes. You go, oh man, it'd be so cool to have that lifestyle. See, you only see the fake front. You know where they're at? Over here. Oh yeah, they're living the life on their 5th marriage. They never see their kids because their second wife has them. You get the people over here, and you've got to think, oh, that's for the ministry. That's for brother so-and-so or miss so-and-so. I don't know. Let me explain something to you. As hard as it is for you to believe, the moment you say, okay, God, show me what you want me to do, I'll do it. That day will change your life forever. Forever. 20th anniversary at our church. I was a junior in high school. No, I was a senior. I just started my senior year. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't want to go to Bible college because I was afraid to get up in front of people and talk. So what point was there? It's not like I didn't want to. It's just, I didn't think I could do it. And we're in a tent. And at that point in time, at the end of the service, one of the deacons got up, said, preacher, Scott, we want your family to come up here. We have something for you. I saw every single church member get up in a line, while the instruments played, people came up, shook hands, and gave a gift to my dead mom. And I saw love shown, person after person after person after person after person after person after person. And God spoke to my heart that night. He said, you know what? You could have that same happiness. You could make that same difference. You could make that same impact on people. And that night I went out back. I was in tears. Senior in high school, I'm crying. I'm going to go out back in the dark. I said, okay, God, I'll do it. I'll preach. A few months later, graduate, go to college, and there, one of the conferences we had, same thing. I couldn't take it. I left my seat, went down, went outside. I didn't go to the altar, I went outside. And I was just, it's that decision. I said, okay, God. I'll do it. Do whatever you want with me. I'll do it. And at that point, my heart, I handed over and said, here, God. It's yours. I'll do whatever you want. The change that happened was incredible. I was never a bad kid. I always wanted to do right. It gave me something I could have never imagined. And it started me down this path to the life that I have, to the life I want to keep. Teach, let me convince you of this. Give your heart to God. You give your heart to God, you never regret it for the rest of your life. Father, I pray help us today. It's been a long message. We've got a lot of things going on. God, we want you to bless us. God, the young people in this room today, there's so many of them, they're at a deciding point in their life. They've got decisions that we've made. And who knows if this camp is the one that's going to decide happiness, or whether it's going to decide misery for them. It's got to pray to bless them, pray to guide them, and direct them.
Every head bowed, every eye closed, please. When we look around. I don't think Brother Josh's idea to come up here was to make you feel bad. I don't think he took the time to come up here to rip anybody's face. I don't think his time to come up here was to try to sell you something that was fake. Brother Joseph mentioned something yesterday. He mentioned the fake things. The ones that are coming out to try to sell you something that are fake. I don't think that Brother Josh Goddard being here is trying to sell you something fake. If it was fake, it was a waste of time for him to be here. We're going to have the girls sing. As the girls sing, I want you to think about the words. And I want you to think about the message today. Let's all stand. Let's all stand. The girls are going to start singing. As the girls sing, you make the decision. Don't be looking around. Every head bowed, every eyes closed. You make the decision. Not your heart. Not your heart. You make it. Not your parents. Not your mom and dad. Not the person sitting next to you. You make the decision. No one knows your life better than you. No one knows your life better than your parents. You make the decision. As of right now, as they're singing, if you want to make that decision on your own, come on down. Come on down. Right now, if you're fighting something, you know your parents at home, they fight every day. You know what you're watching at home that's being put on. You know you're fighting something. You don't want to make that decision, but you want your heart to make that decision. Don't waste time. Make that decision today to live God wants you to live. family. Very first. My family, my mom, my dad, all of my brothers, my sister, my in-laws, my family. For the very first time this year, for the very first time we were together, they would never come to my house. And the reason why they don't come to my house is because when I was your age, I stood up for something. They used to tell me, you keep going to church, we'll take away your bed. You keep going to church, we're not paying for anything. You won't eat lunch, you won't have any clothes to wear, nothing. And guess what I said? I said, so be it. Now that I'm older and I got a family, they would not step their foot in my house for one very reason, because they're ashamed of what they've done to me when I was your age. And he stepped in my house for the very first time in 12 years. They've never stepped in my house. They never came to visit their grandkids, ever, until this year. This year was amazing. We stood in the living room. I asked Kevin, my brother-in-law in that kitchen right now, and I said, you pray for the meal, Brother Dan. And I got a video of them, with all of them with their head bowed, eyes closed, and him praying. I have a passion that they're going to get saved someday.
Amen. Yes.
That my family members are going to get saved. And every one of you, you have a family member who's saved. Your mom, your dad, your brothers and sisters. And you can't even stand up for what he talked about. I was 31 years old. I had a life ahead of me. Went back to school, got my degree, getting my degree to be a sports manager, to be in sports management. I want to go to high places, and I want to make that money that everybody wants. At 31 years old, I was sitting right where Titus is sitting, where the church was. Doug Fisher preached the message, and he said something like this. He said, you used to want to do something for God, but something took you away from it. I remember that day coming down the aisle and praying right there. And I was scared to death, Brother Josh. I said, here, my Lord, send me. I haven't said that in nearly 12 years to God. Here, my Lord, send me. Do whatever you please in my life. That was in January of 2015. In November of 2015, God called me to the ministry there at Regency Baptist. Some of you are scared to make that decision. God, do something with my life. I don't want to just make money. I want you to do something with my life. You're scared because somebody told you this. That being in the ministry is a miserable place to be in. I'm telling you, Brother Josh. I'm telling you, Brother Dan. It's the best decision I've ever made in my life.
Amen.
Best decision. Some of you have been in my home. You're like, how do you have a nice home? God.
Yeah, that's right. Amen.
How do you have a nice car? God. Somebody gave me a car. That's crazy. God gave it to me. I didn't have to go make the fake money to go get happiness. You give God maximum effort and God gives you maximum blessings. If you want to play that game, I guarantee you, you'll end up like every one of my friends today. I get to live a dream today. And we're trying to sell you something that's real. It's not fake. This is some real stuff. We need some seniors today to stand up and tell all the other ones, the young ones, and say, stand up for God. Live for God. I'm not going to try to be a police officer. I'm not going to try to be a fireman. I'm not going to try to do anything else. I'm going to try to do something for God. We need some young ladies, the older ones, the ones in Bible college to say, hey, don't go make money. Go do something for God. I guarantee you, I promise you. How about this? If it doesn't work out, I'll pay your bills. I would. If you give God your life tonight, you say, God, I give my life to you. I will guarantee you and promise you that your life will be very, very happy. I promise you, because the Bible promises that. Tonight, as you go back to your cabins, I want you to think, was there ever a time when you say to yourself, God, hear my Lord, send me. Brother Joseph said this, Brother Dan, yesterday, caught my attention. He said that your dad said this. Let the Methodists be the doctors. Let the Lutherans be the lawyers. Let's make the Baptists a bunch of preachers, a bunch of people who do something for God. That caught my attention. Why did it keep my attention? I'm glad I'm not making money so that I can try to live a life of happiness. I'm glad that today I get to work with young people like you to share you my testimony and say, look, what I do is real. What I do, I want to do more for God. I don't want to just be here and be a bus director. I want to start a church someday, Brother Dan. I want to do more than that. I don't play video games. I love my brother. I have a 38-year-old brother who lives in my parents' home and plays video games every day. He used to be a bus captain at Pacific Baptist Church. I pray for him every day. Let me tell you something. Give God maximum effort, and He will give you that maximum blessing that Brother Josh was talking about. Don't wait until on the way down there. Don't wait until youth conference. Don't wait till you get home and your parents say this. How fun was camp? What did you learn at camp? What was your decisions? Don't wait till that time happens, because I already know what's going to happen when you get home. Oh, that's just a mountaintop experience. It'll go away in a week. Make that decision tonight and keep it. And say, God, hear my Lord, send me. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, I thank you so much.